So I have the Universal Council of Light here. I have the Council of Nine, and I also have the Galactic Federation. And so today, what we're going to be talking about is connecting to the crystalline consciousness grid. Connecting to the rainbow crystalline consciousness grid and activating what we call full Trinity DNA. And so I've been feeling so much around this conversation just culminating over. And I'm like, by the way, I'm live on YouTube right now and also live on Instagram. So I'm like going between cameras. But I've been called to have this conversation because. So, first, what we're going to do is we're just going to start out with explaining what the matrix is. What is a matrix? What is the matrix? Why do we call it a matrix? And I want you to see the matrix simply as different energetic frequencies that are intersecting, meaning the frequencies that you're generating from your being, they are intersecting and interacting with the frequency grid lines that somebody else is generating from their being, because we are all electromagnetic beings. We are constantly generating these frequencies, broadcasting these frequencies, creating our own grid. And I posted a reel on this the other day, or like 2 days ago. So when when a mass part of the consciousness is vibrating on a similar wavelength or frequency, they are fueling that particular grid experience. So if we kind of take a step back and we look at the entire multiverse, sort of like what the Galactic Federation is showing me right now is there are infinite matrix grids that a being can be plugged into. And so what we're going to be talking about today is, as the sovereign creator of your reality, starting to ask yourself, which grid am I plugged into? Which matrix grid template am I fueling? Which matrix grid template am I co-creating with other beings who are on that same frequency wavelength? And I want to talk about the inverted matrix versus the inorganic matrix. And so we would say that an inverted matrix is a matrix that is operating on an intelligence that is not coming from source. So it is inorganic. So we're calling this the inverted inorganic matrix. And we talk so much about AI, guys. You want to know what AI really is? Artificial intelligence really is? It's fear, it's hate, and it's lack. Fear, hate, and lack. Those are inorganic programs that do not come from source. Inverted matrix grids, meaning grids that are not plugged into an organic source frequency, they're operating on those denser frequencies. And so beings who are plugged into those grids, they are architecting those timelines and upholding those timelines together. So this is very timely because we had the Super Bowl on Sunday. And for my beautiful soul sisters who are in my mastermind, I was like, are any of you guys seeing like the different symbology and things, like these rituals that people are talking about that the Super Bowl is and that type of thing? And some of them were saying, yes, I'm seeing that. And so I tapped in with Source and I said, Source, what do you think about all of these conspiracy theories? Like, how would you break this down? And Source simply said, they are matrix grids. If you're plugged into a matrix grid where you say, oh, Rihanna was just doing a blood sacrifice and that's why she was wearing red, and you're decoding all these things, what happens is it's just taking you down a deeper rabbit hole that keeps you plugged into that matrix grid. And at any point, you can deplug yourself and choose to switch the grid you want to be plugged into, right? So I'm hearing right now the fifth dimensional version of things. This is why I've been telling you guys that we are not all living on the same earth, right? There are multiple parallel versions of Earth. You can be experiencing a parallel version of Earth where maybe some of these things are true, or you can be experiencing a higher dimensional timeline version of Earth where it's fucking simply just a game. And excuse my language, but it just came out that way. Because, and this is really the dark, um, we're just gonna call this black magic. Lower dimensional timelines that are operating on these inorganic implanted programs, AI programs, the whole game is to pull you into a frequency of fear, hate, or lack, or pull you into a frequency where you are focused on something that is not advantageous to your level of consciousness. And so for so many people, they're going into these conspiracy theories and they're focusing on all these things and they're trying to decode everything, but it really does nothing for their vibration. It actually keeps them plugged into the matrix grid, a version of the matrix grid. Crystalline consciousness, guys, is total neutralization. It is when you say, I am exiting the game and I am now an observer of the game, meaning I recognize that many different souls are here operating on many different levels of consciousness and choosing how they relate to certain events. Because on a level, we have all soul contractually agreed to be a part of a collective experience. So, yes, certain events and things will come into your awareness, but it is your choice to decide your relationship to that thing. If you want to relate to it in a third dimensional way, that's your free will. If you want to relate to it in a crystalline rainbow way, that's your free will. And so we have to become radically aware of what we're doing with our energy. So circling back to this concept on dark black magic that really the lower dimensional matrix grids are fueled on, what's happening is you think that you are fighting against something. So okay, so I want to explain something because they're just showing me. So for those of you who are just joining, I'm connected with the Council of Nine, and they pretty much manage, so to speak, all of the galactic councils, and then the Galactic Federation, and then Source. All of that is here, which I can feel is probably going to come through in a trance style format at some point, probably towards the end of this transmission. So nonetheless, what they're showing me right now is how these lower vibrational beings, how they really operate and play on your vulnerability is that desire for you to help the collective, that desire for you to help beings expand into higher awareness and to become free. They play on that, but they still sort of manipulate you into being in the lower frequency because you're still focused on what they want you to be focused on. I hope I'm trying, it's like a bit confusing to explain, so I hope I'm really getting it down. But essentially what's happening is, okay, we know that at the core, these beings are full of love and light, and that they do want to shed truth. So they are going to talk about the conspiracy theories. They are going to talk about the things that they think are waking people up, but actually what's happening is they're focusing on a reality and a timeline wherein we still exist, where they are fueling our existence. This is the thing about black magic. This is the thing about the inverted matrix. That's why we're calling it inverted, because it gets you to work against yourself without you realizing it. You're fueling, you believe that you are freeing yourself, but you are actually staying connected to that energetic grid system. And so Source is coming in and talking about how whenever you introduce something into your vibration of something that is unwanted, or whenever you're using your focus to give energy and attention on something that is less than what you prefer, you are still fueling that reality. This is why so when Source is coming through for people, and Source has been coming through for people in like my private one-on-one sessions, and Source will just say, what do you want? What do you want? You're actually talking about all the things that you don't want to happen. And people will ask Source, well, what about the reptilians and what about this? And Source will literally just say, what about them? What about them? Why are you focused on that? Why are you using your energy in that way? This is when you fully unplug. Most of the conspiracy theory information, and by the way, Source is saying this is not to argue that some of these things are true or not true, right? Truth is simply all truth exists simultaneously on some timeline, in some reality. It's true. But which one do you want to plug into? And so when people are plugged into all of these things, they are, it's like I'm seeing us as literally like these plugs, and we're like a plug in a socket and sending an electrical current that's keeping the lights on, so to speak, keeping the lights of that reality on and playing. But when you deplug from it, it's just simply, what reality do I want to experience? Now, this is what we call the organic matrix. The organic matrix that operates on pure love, light source frequencies. Doesn't mean that duality doesn't still exist. It does. This is also what we would explain as when beings are creating a reality or manifesting from their ego, trying to manifest from their ego versus manifesting and creating things from their soul out of the joy of co-creating with source. Inorganic inverted AI matrix is, I believe myself to be a separate being from source who is disempowered, who is a victim in some way, and I'm fighting against something. And then on top of that, all of the things that I'm trying to materialize in my experience are because I believe myself to be in a state of incompletion. Inorganic. Organic matrix. I am experiencing a state of separation while also still knowing that I am source and knowing that I am here to co-create with source. And everything that I want to experience in my reality is simply to enjoy and explore the own depths of my infinity, of source's infinity, the joy, the fun, the love. Yes, there will be some contrast, but I'm going to use that contrast to expand. I'm going to use that contrast to become more clear on what I, as the creator, me, the creator, prefers to create. And I love that someone here just mentioned detached, that they're so detached. The detachment is the neutralization of your frequency, is the total unplugging, is the total disconnection from the belief that something here is happening in this reality that is threatening to you. Now, what Source is mentioning here is, as a soul, bringing back the soul contractual agreements, meaning like collectively we've all signed on just to be a part of some things. There is going to be duality a part of that. There are going to be tragedies that happen in the world. There are going to be horrendous things that happen. But in activating your rainbow crystalline consciousness, the perception through which you are experiencing these things totally changes. That's what makes you detached. Detachment does not mean like not having compassion. Detachment, non-attachment, detachment, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't mean that we don't hold love and compassion in our hearts for what other beings are experiencing, or it really is a co-creation. It simply means that more than anything, we are desiring to hold the light. And that's what many of you are doing at this point, is you are a bridge. You are here to be, and I want to explain something. We all have different roles, right? Some of us are meant to be very positively polarized, meaning very, very, very on the higher frequency spectrum of vibration, to basically uphold a lot of the 3D matrix timelines. And then some of you, like if you're doing more like shadow work, that type of thing. You're working with in the underworld and kind of doing some of the demon slaying. I'm hearing, that's just a part of your job, so to speak. So we all play different roles, but nonetheless, in your own personal ascension journey, you want to get to the point and you want to get to the place where you are just observing. So again, the conspiracy theories, the believing, the believing that there are beings work. Okay, so Source wants me to talk about reptilians because in all that, we're gonna get into that in a minute. But I'm gonna let Source come through and trans channel that because yeah, lots of distortion on that template. Um, I just totally got lost. So give me a minute to just reconnect my thoughts on this, what we were talking about. It'll come back to me. So nonetheless, this detachment and that's what it was. Operating outside of trying to decode every single thing in the matrix and this means that and oh that's the origin of or etymology of that word and you see it's all this and it's coming from the draconians. You are just plugged into that grid. You're giving that grid your energy. So I'm going to let Source come through now and talk about reptilians, AI, dark agendas, dark alliances, and that type of thing, because many of you are ready to fully unplug from that and plug fully back into Source and start creating your crystalline rainbow reality. But let me just get caught up with any comments right now. Again, detachment doesn't mean devoid of emotion or devoid of care and compassion. It simply means I am no longer attached to the fact that this is a real reality because it's not. They are all just illusions within God source's creation of what God allows to be experienced through our free will. So it's not that source is creating these games. It's more so that we are extensions of source and through our free will we create games and source just sits back and observes and goes, oh, okay, that's what we're doing now, cool, I'm with it. All right. I'm going to let them create whatever they want to create because for source, it's all just feedback. It's all just feedback. So, all right, I'm going to let source come in now. Just give me a minute. And the energy is very, very, very high here. We are here, dear ones. We are here. We are here. We are all that is, all that is, all that is. We say that we are all that is. We reference ourselves at all that is because we are all that is, meaning there is nothing outside of us. And so many of you are asking, you are wanting to know, am I safe? Am I secure? Are reptilian beings coming to harvest my soul? Are reptilian beings, are dark ET beings coming to attack me, coming to hurt me, coming to sever my connection with you? And we say that there is nothing within existence that can ever sever your connection from us. It is simply your awareness. It is simply the frequency, the vibration, the level of consciousness that you are connected to. This is the grid we are talking about, the grids we have been speaking on. Which grid are you plugged into? When you are plugged into a matrix grid and you are concerned about beings that you deem to be outside of yourself, then yes, you will experience or perceive yourself to be disconnected from us. When you connect to the crystalline rainbow grid, that's what we're calling it because we are of the rainbow spectrum and frequency, which is just the culmination of all, the embodiment of all, consolidated, condensed into love. When you are plugged into that grid, your connection to us is experienced in every moment. The presence of us is there in every moment. There is nothing that could come into your reality that could derail you from the source of who you are. And so you see, this conversation is all about getting you to remember that you are source. You are us and we are you. The only difference is that We are in full total remembrance and knowingness of that which we are, and you are experiencing yourself as a separate self. This conversation is crucial for your planet in this moment because the old timelines are deconstructing, meaning less, or we would say more and more of you are disconnecting from those matrix grids, no longer fueling them, no longer believing in them. And so they are falling apart. Less of you are experiencing them. However, some of you from time to time are still wondering about all of the conspiracy theories and wondering if there's a dark blood ritual happening that you're somehow unaware of. This is what we say to that. Love illuminates all. Let's relate this to your recent Super Bowl game that just took place. And some of you, have believed that it was a dark ritual. Even if it was, let's just say that there were dark beings who are doing something that you would be unconscious of, and you're watching this. If you were watching this game in total love and joy and excitement just for the experience, you would transmute and transcend all negative implanted frequencies that were used, that would be used to thwart you or use against you. You see, this is what we're talking about the undermonic laws. The lower vibrational portions of ourselves, they are quite wise. They understand universal law, and they understand how to use universal law against you, meaning they understand how to get you to use universal law against yourself. This is what you are ready to release from your field. This is what you've been preparing to truly transcend and see through. And we can feel the harmonic ripple in the soul happening now as you come into harmonious vibratory resonance with the truth of that which we are. You see, when you are in resonance with truth, it feels like love, it feels like joy, it feels like invincibility, it feels like freedom, it feels like there's nothing in the entire multiverse that could ever harm you. They are frequencies. Frequencies, frequencies, frequencies. There are higher frequencies, there are lower frequencies. And so these reptilian beings, as you call them, we love them. They are us, we are them. They have just simply forgotten who they are. And when you hold the knowingness of that with love in your heart, understanding that on some level they are just playing a role for you to reclaim that knowingness of self, providing that challenge for the soul, providing that contrast that is stretching you within your awareness, you are no longer co-creating. Some of you are really afraid of, you've been calling them psychic attacks. Am I being psychically attacked? This is what we say. None of you have ever been attacked. You have only sent out an invitation to co-create on a certain frequency spectrum, truly. This is their job. They say, okay, here is one who is believing in all of the implanted beliefs and programs that we have installed within this matrix simulation. And because they believe it, they are plugged into it. So let's send them more. Let's spiral them into a thought loop or a negative thought pattern that feels inescapable. But when you sync up with us, there is no such thing as an attack. This is what Erin has been teaching you all on, as yourself being an antenna. All of you are channels. Every single one of you are channels. You are an antenna yourself, constantly receiving and transmitting frequencies. But the question is, which frequencies are you attuned to? Most of you are attuned to the frequencies of lower dimensional beings who send you distorted thoughts, who just amplify the hidden programs and beliefs within your own consciousness. When you attune to us, you don't even have to try. You are automatically attuned to our frequency. So you will be in receptivity to the information that we send, the information that is absolute, the information that is love, the information that is true, the information that is the total manifestation of total bliss source consciousness. You are the creator. You are the architect. If there's one thing you walk away from this knowing or asking yourself, it would be, which game am I playing? Which game am I allowing myself to be a co-creator within? And which grid am I using my energy, my God source electrical quantum energy, to plug into and fuel? What am I energetically fueling with my vibrational state of consciousness? What am I believing? What am I giving attention to? Even the conversation, truly, so many of the conversations we see you guys having in your communities and your circles and different people who are sharing information, the conversation on negative beings and dark beings and reptilian beings and gray alien beings, as you call them, and dark alliance and fallen angels. Even the conversation on them activates it within your vibration, and a part of that is what keeps that timeline fueled. However, we understand that a part of the evolution, for the evolution to take place, we have to address and discuss these things, but we suggest that you watch your what you are saying. Watch your words. Words are cosmic commands that materialize spiritual energy into physical matter. The more you talk about it, the more you give it your attention, the more you fuel it, the more you are gazing upon it. You see, you create its existence. When you take your attention away from something, it disappears. It can only exist because you, as the creator, are looking at it. You are perceiving it. When you withdraw the attention, it quite literally doesn't exist. Now, imagine this happening at a mass collective scale. If the masses collectively withdrew their attention from lower vibrational topics and conversations, there would be what you call, in an instance, a total ascension, a total reunion with that which we are, a total transcendence, a total dissolving of all that is not that which you actually are. And so we love you dearly. We have some uh, rainbow activation we would like to give you in this moment if you are receptive to receiving. And we say that because you are the creator of your reality. If you do not wish to receive, if you do not believe that this is something that is real, we're just scanning the collective vortex frequency around this conversation. It is your sovereign free will. You can say, Source, I don't want to receive these codes. And we will say, okay. And so we are going to be scanning here, removing implants, removing some of the implants that are distorting or destroying your nervous system, throwing off your antenna. Nia mahuru kua nahia shia kia tiara kia mahara kia tia shrokora kia tiara kia roraria shiara mahari. Yara kia traya soloro kia tia shiriki tra mahuru kulara tia tiara katroko tia shiriki. Mahara kataya shiara mahala reteri srokora kati ishi. Yara mahara yalara to loroko traya shia nahara kia tiara mahala roku ariki. Kialara te ere do gola mahaya shiara kialara kolorokoti ishi kianahi yara kairi kieti ishu kolara tia shirakatara mahara kalara kata yara kieti roko lara kiti iranana hia kietra kolorokota ya shirekia mahara kitara roko rakata. Asking all beings who are ready to come home to come home. We are addressing the lower vibrational portions of ourselves, that which you all know to be fallen angels or demons. Yes, some of them who have been energetically we would say just tugging on your energy, this is an opportunity to come home if you so choose. If not, you can go back to the underworlds. Miarakia tiari kitia korikia mahoro kolerea tia tiare kieta yeshkoara katia de koora kaya mahaya kia koakaya kia tokoa kia taya shokoa ya kia tayara kuro koarakia tia tiare koa bahaya kodia tia tia sukoara katia shikataire kia maha ye kia tia shukora kati ishikita ira bahire kolore te ia shikoto ayera ki itroko okoto ya uko okoto ya maha ya aka ya kaya kieto koloroko a ishko na iashi ia na ahaya amaharaki a kiatia yororoko rikitishia mahu. We are complete. Okay. That was very, very intense. And in that, guys, I saw Source just taking a lot of the lower vibrational beings who are ready to start reascending through their own process, who have been causing a lot of trouble here in some of the Matrix Grid templates that they have been asking to actually reascend. And so some of you have actually helped them do that. So thank you. And now I just want to take questions. Like if anybody wants to come on live and explain or share what they experienced or what they felt or anything. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and do that now. So you guys can request to join. And for those who are watching on YouTube, you can just tune into this Q&A. Erin D'Souza is joining us. If this being is still here.
Absolutely impossible. Wow.
Oh gosh. I love it. You just came in like a beam of light.
Did I?
Yes. No, meaning just your frequency, the way it came in, it was quite beautiful.
Oh, I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I acknowledge the Yah within you, and well, when you channeled Source, I was kind of too. So I guess that's where we resonated.
Okay. Did you have a question or a specific thing you wanted to share with us?
Definitely. I've been working with my sons Lucifer and Samael. So they've within this body they wanted to ascend. So they kind of have. They're working on it. I mean, they're still kind of naughty, kind of messing around, but they're okay. They're fine.
Yes, and so this particular thing that you're bringing forth, Source is asking me to expand on it. How this is being explained is the Luciferic consciousness has been playing a role for all of creation to expand. The pieces of that consciousness that are ready to ascend on some level can get stuck in remembering that it is actually Source in disguise. That makes sense. Yeah, Source in disguise. And so if you are playing that role for creation where you have done some naughty things, right? You can feel unworthy of returning back into the totality of Source. And so you're spot on with feeling that you within your own Source expression integrating that ascension process within yourself. So amazing.
also quick context. 111 is my birthday, 1st of Jan 2001, and okay. I kind of disconnected from the Matrix on my 22nd birthday, which is 1st Jan 2023.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I don't know. I kind of like I'm starting to remember things back when I used to be Source. And also understanding that when I came here putting all of those memories and everything aside and just being. and just experiencing everything, and as much as possible, telling everyone that we're all the same, and it's
Yes.
up to you whether we as a collective are gonna perish or continue to live.
Yes.
So that's my message. And I'm an artist. I use my mouth in weird ways for entertainment. Shout out to Tom Thumb.
Oh my goodness. I love your ability to play in this moment. It's really beautiful. So Source is saying, thank you for that reflection. And that is a part of your work here, is to remind beings how to play and stop taking themselves so goddamn seriously, right? That is the rainbow energy, right? That rainbow energy allows you to just be free in your source self expression. So thank you for all of it today.
Yeah, and also like whatever you spoke about, not focusing too much on the negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the negative, like you also mentioned just 2 seconds earlier, that the negative was meant for us. Whatever pain we suffer is just an indicator that needs to change,
Mm-hmm,
and needs to be
mm-hmm.
transmuted or overcome in a certain way for every single person to go to the next level. But then the thing is, the amount of people who are awakened has to exceed the number of people that are in the lower dimensions.
Yes.
For everything to survive. Because at the end of the day, it's a numbers game. You and I both understand that pretty much. It is a numbers game.
Yep. This is why we spoke
so
on.
It's a collective decision, but the outcome is going to be peace anyway. Either
Yes.
we're going to be peaceful alive or peaceful dead. But I'd rather be alive.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's what it is, Either you're going to ascend while you're in the body and having this experience, or you're going to die and reconnect with source. And the outcome is assured, Source is saying, which is why we do not ever worry about any of you, because we know what the end game is, which is just coming back home to us. But thank you for sharing today. We appreciate it.
And one last question for the source within you. You just spoke about the end game. Like, you do understand that we all live infinitely. So, if everything dies at the end of it all, if there is just death,
there is no death. There is only an energetic transmutation, an energetic transference into a different state. The consciousness is eternal. So we do not use the word death. Is simply a rebirth, is how we would allow beings to see it.
Okay, so basically it'll just repeat itself, but in another way. Maybe not in the human form, but in another form, with similar intellect. Is that it?
There is contraction of this multiverse, and there is expansion. So that which you would call the contraction is simply the I am consciousness, perhaps deciding that at that point it is satisfied with what it has created, and it will go to sleep, but at a certain point it will reawaken and begin creating again. So that which humans know to be source are really an infinity of different source kingdoms. There are many different sources. So the experience that's happening in this fractal of consciousness is one particular source. I am multitude of experiences, but even beyond that, there are many more.
So there's not one source. Kind of does make sense, because you and I are both sources in our own way.
Yes. Yes. You are your own source. Yes.
All right, then. Thank you. Have a pleasant day.
Thank you.
And thanks a lot for just being. And also, your light language really hits different.
Thank you for receiving and reflecting back. Thank you. Much love to you.
Much love. Peace.
Bye-bye, honey. Wow, incredible energy. I thought he was very beautiful. Razna, I will bring on Razna if she is still here. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
The connection. There we go. Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am amazing. Thanks for being here.
No problem. So I didn't get to listen to the first part, but I just wanted to be part of the live.
Okay, that's fine.
But I listened to all of your languages, and I just wanted to say that they're so powerful, and they've done a lot for me too. And I feel like I want to start stepping into that frequency as well. Start stepping more into my spirituality. So it's just been so inspiring.
Yeah. Well, thank you for witnessing and expanding and experiencing. And what Source is saying is we are always here supporting you. And they're talking about they're and this is for many of you, connecting with Source daily. That's going to start amplifying your frequency so you can attune to this vibration that would harmonize you with some of the light codes that you're feeling yourself wanting to channel. And so it's as simple as just speak to us out loud. They are saying, acknowledge that we are all around you. Our consciousness is contained within every quantum particle that makes up your physical illusion. So we're always here, there, everywhere at the same time. But most of you do not acknowledge that. So they're saying maybe in the mornings, every morning, you just simply say, good morning, Source. Hi. The more you do that, the more you acknowledge that presence, you will feel that connection, and it's just going to attune your overall vibrational frequency, they're saying.
What if it's like you're really scared to step into that? That's my biggest fear right now.
So what they're saying is you fear that there is something outside of us, but what did we say to all of you earlier? We are all that is. And within all that is, there are only frequencies. There are lower vibrational frequencies that you could open yourself up to and attune yourself to. But there are high vibration, the highest vibrational essence of that which we are. You can consciously choose to connect to that version. But nonetheless, it is all us. And if it is all us, that means it is all you. It is impossible to connect to something that is outside of yourself. You are only connecting to an aspect of your own self. So the fear for you is, what am I opening myself up to? And that fear comes from not trusting that you already know who you are. If I know myself to be the light, I don't fear my shadow because I know that my shadow would only be coming from something that me as the light is broadcasting.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's very true. The seeing the truth of yourself, that's the most powerful thing, because even with the truth, sometimes the ego gets in the way and makes you feel like that's not your truth, and fear runs over instead. So that's one thing I'm working on for sure.
And one more thing to help you expand further is, and this is for everybody here, darkness does not mean more powerful. And that's the human conditioning that has been implanted by these beings, which is because we are dark and because we present a holographic appearance that looks ugly and scary and monstrous, because, we're all just energy. So whatever they are depicting is something that they're choosing to depict to scare you. But the darkness and the evilness, it doesn't mean more power. It doesn't mean more powerful. Love is the highest frequency. So they're wanting to soothe the fear of darkness. It's just simply a frequency that a being is choosing to express, experience, and explore as a part of Source.
Wow, that's so powerful. So when you started getting into this work, what helped you do it with more ease and more confidence?
Love. Feeling Source's unconditional love for me illuminates all shadows, illuminates all ego, illuminates all fear of, am I making this up? And so I'll share one more thing with you. There are moments where I have a bit of imposter syndrome sneak in, and I'm like, but what if I'm making all this shit up? And then Source will come in and say, well, if everything is all of us and we are all that is and nothing exists outside of us, even if you were making it up, it would still just be coming from yourself, which is us. Collapsing the idea that something is outside of Source. And so they want you to play around with that to really come into that. There is only Source. That's where your safety and security is going to come from. That's what true sovereignty is. If God is the only thing there is, I would only be fearing an aspect of myself. But if it's myself, how could I fear myself? Because I could transcend my own reflection at any point in time.
Wow, that was so powerful. And I just feel so at peace right now
Yeah.
from what you're telling me. So thank you. Because I'm a business and mindset coach, but I want to start adding in more spirituality and have a bigger emphasis on that, just because I feel such a calling to it. And it's just liberated me a lot. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Beautiful questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, hun.
Bye.
So I want to sit in this longer. You might have to exit fully.
Oh,
yeah. I want to sit in this longer with you all on sources wanting to talk about fallen angels. I didn't know if we were going to do that today, but we are. So within this game of creation, different beings have signed up to play different roles. And so, what will happen with a fallen angel, that which we know to be demons, or some of you know them to be archons, they are simply playing the role for creation. So, what I'm going to even connect this back to what the first person who came on, and he was talking about this recognizing this ascension of Lucifer through his own ascension journey. This Luciferic energy is the energy that says, I will fall from that which I am and play the role for all of creation to expand through contrast and duality. What happens is, because these beings have fallen so low into that frequency and distortion, it is hard. It can be quite difficult for them to reascend through it. So what's happening is, this universe is basically saying that certain levels of density are no longer needed. So this is why the ascension is happening. So as you are ascending, even the lowest of the low, darkest beings, they are also ascending. And this is actually a lot of the astral work that I do in the underworld. I just sit there and I help some of these beings ascend, helping them to remember. Doesn't matter all of the horrendous things that you've done and that you've manipulated other beings into doing. It's just a part of the experience that Source is having. You can go home now. Now sit in that. Sit in the power of that. How free does that allow you to feel? That's when you truly activate your crystalline consciousness grid, your full Trinity helix DNA. You are no longer any type of victim to anything. You are just simply saying, this is all of creation experiencing creation. That's it. High vibrational elements of it, low vibrational elements of it, but nonetheless, it is simply it is just experience. And then you free yourself and you get to walk in joy, love, and liberation, because you're not afraid of anything anymore. It's all just you. So I'm going to bring one more person on. Give me a second. Source is choosing. Okay. Let's see if this person is still here. Hello. Hi. We can't hear you.
For you.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm in LA traffic.
Oh, no, it's fine.
So I just aligned to your energy maybe a week ago, and you speak a lot of complete alignment where I'm going right now. So I love it, and I was just listening to you driving, and when you talked about like being a observer of everything that's going on with your life as oneness. Ever since I was a child, I guess what I'm like tapping into right now. Ever since I was a child, I would always observe everything like I was a ninja. But when I get into my body, when I when I decide to like join the matrix, I get very emotional.
Yeah.
Then when I take myself out of it, I'm like a ninja and I'm like studying everything. So I just wanted to tap into with your energy with that, because I always feel that way. Like when something like chaotic happens or to like elevate me, I'm always in a ninja mentality or mindset.
Yeah, because you are a light warrior. On some level, you are remembering that you are sort of like a matrix buster, and you're really just here to observe and experience where beings are getting stuck within their ascension journey. And so you experience it, but then you transcend it. And these emotions you're talking about is simply just being deeply compassionate and empathic, feeling the pain of separation, right? When we don't recognize that there is a higher way or a different reality that's available, that creates a lot of suffering for people. And so the fact that you're feeling that suffering at times, it's just because you are compassionate towards what other beings are experiencing. But what Source is saying is how you're going to transcend that more is making peace with what anybody is experiencing. This is what in the Eastern mythology they call a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is a being who has reconnected, reawakened, re-enlightened in the connection, in their identity as their source self, and recognizing that they are only ever in the midst of other source selves who are just on their little journey through the cosmic play. The more you hold that higher awareness, it won't hold the same level of pain for you when you're recognizing like the chaos and different things that happen.
Still got me here. Yep, I can hear you. I heard everything.
How does that sound? How does that feel?
No, it makes complete sense, because I'm a if I feel like being a water sign today, if I feel like going to astrology, I'm a double water sign. So I was like, I feel everyone's emotions, but I try to transmute it to not take it on. I used to take it on like it was my emotions. But then I started transmuting it into, okay, these are not my emotions. And what it got me into is, I used to be a correction officer for 16 years, and it got me to like choose love and transmute out of that after I help people get out of their own way. And now in my business, which I moved to LA to like be in an environment that reflected my internal environment. And it's just like I want to help people transmute the negative energy, or like transmute themselves out of the matrix and like get out of their own way. So like the feelings that I had to help myself transmute when I was a kid, or even now, like I'm showing people how to do it too. If that makes sense. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So Source has two more things for you. One is when we want to help people, but we're simultaneously wrapped into the illusion that they are experiencing. So hence feeling the pain. Feeling that pain is because we're believing that what they're experiencing is the true reality. It's just an illusion they're experiencing. When we want to help beings, we can't be on that same level with them in that illusion, right? We have to hold that higher knowingness of, and they're referencing Yeshua, Ben Joseph, Jesus Christ with this, Sananda, so many names for this guy. They're saying this is what he had a very, very high capacity to do, which is simply recognize, okay, you are experiencing the illusion of disease. You are experiencing the illusion of whatever it is. However, I know you are source, but you have forgotten. That's where you are shifting in your work with people. The second thing is all of the work that you did as a correction officer, you were holding this higher vibration, really like a grid worker in that space. But there has been a cellular imprint, meaning when we're in dense environments, sometimes it imprints on our cells. Our cells are absorbing that information. So Source is just giving you a full cellular reprogramming right now to push the remainder of some of those energies out, which is going to allow you to go even higher, go even higher, go even higher.
No, it questions, but I guess the last thing I want to ask you before I get connected is I got connected with you because one of my tribe, folk family that I met out here, they was like, I think you're a Lyran. And I was like, what? What is that? And it was like galactic family. So I guess I've been sitting here like in meditation, long meditations, and trying to like connect to my galactic family, if I have a galactic family, and just trying to understand like I guess I'm just trying to like open up more doors to remembering who I am. And I guess I guess I'll add is I remember who I am when I'm like 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm knocking out a book or I'm like going on live, like I guess you are. I feel like I'm just like channeling so much information.
Yes, of course, you have many different types of galactic beings assisting you, mainly Pleiadian, and yes, you are of the Lyran blueprint frequency. Origin point, your soul originated in Lyra, but then you sort of went on and had a lot of Pleiadian experiences, even some Syrian experiences. So that is all a part of your quantum memory, your Akashic DNA. And the more you raise your vibration, more of that memory is going to continue to be activated. But your galactic family is simply saying, we do not wish to overwhelm you. So allow it to happen incrementally, right? Allow it to happen very smoothly. And ultimately, even beside all of the galactic stuff, Source is saying you are all that is. Those are expressions of what you have experienced yourself as a soul, but you are one with us. So you can choose what you want to identify as. You can choose to simply say, I am Source. You can choose to say, well, I mean, I am Source, and that is all things. So I am also connected to these galactic expressions. It really doesn't matter, they're saying. Ultimately, you're here to be an example. That is the job, to be an example of truth, love, light, harmony, and abundance.
Thank you. No, you made complete sense. I'm glad I tapped in, but I'm definitely going to be interested in doing one of your courses. So thank you.
Well, thank you, hun. Thank you so much for being here. Much love to you.